So there's two schools of thinking when it comes to using professionals or working with professionals to achieve things. The one side is I'll just work it out myself. I'll get the materials, this, that, the other, and I'll do it myself. And then the other side of things is letting that professional do every little bit of it and let them make all of the decision making. Your fate is in their hands. And this goes across all things. So an example might be is if you're putting a piece of furniture together at your house. Some people will hire the people from the store that you buy the furniture from, and they will pay them to come to deliver the piece to their house, to put it together and have that there. Some people even go a step beyond that and let a designer pick everything that goes into their house because they think that they're going to do a more like technically good job, right? Based on the theory or whatever it is, the art that is designing a house. In my situation, we talk about strength and conditioning. Some people just want to rock up and do the actual program. They don't want to be part of the decision making as to the why of things or what they're actually doing. They'll just rock up, they've said their goals maybe, and they'll do it. And for some people that works really, really well. And the other side of things is you wanting to do everything yourself. So some people will buy the piece of furniture, they'll choose the piece of furniture, and then they will build it. Some people will go a step further. So again, this is on the other end of the spectrum, where they will actually make the piece of furniture from scratch. Okay, they might not have ever made something before. They might not have ever made a shelf or a desk or whatever it is, but they want to research how to do it. They want to research the different types of wood to use, the different type of stains that you put on top of the wood, the different purposes of those stains, whether it's supposed to be really like hard wearing and be able to spill water on it, or whether it should be just like really like delicate and you need to look after this desk, right? They're going to learn all the joints and everything. The same thing happens in strength conditioning. A lot of the people times are searching up for the different things that they need to do. They're going to be researching on the internet and figuring out if they need to be doing post-activation potentiation or whether they need to periodize in a block-based model or what they need to do. And there's benefits to both. And one of the benefits in the side of doing everything yourself is that you're learning a bunch and you actually understand how to do things, and there's skills that you pick up that you're not going to unlearn, hopefully. And then the other side of things is that if you let a professional do it, they're going to do things the technically correct way. But they might not do it the way that you want them to, and they might not do it the way with your context. And I think that I have a really good example of how you can work well with somebody who is the professional. And my example for that is me working with a podiatrist. So I have flat feet. Yeah, you don't get to see, but I have flat feet, and it causes me pain, especially when I'm doing lots and lots of activity, lots and lots of running-based activity specific. So I go to a podiatrist and I get my orthotics. On the one side of things, I could research all this like foot health stuff and like figure out all that kind of stuff. And on the other side of things, I could just say, my feet hurt. Give me an orthotic. And that's what I did when I was younger. And I got a pair of orthotics that did the job. They did help me actually reduce pain, but they probably didn't last as long as they needed to. And they probably also didn't prevent, or they didn't, not so much prevent pain, that's not a great way of phrasing it, but they didn't actually fix everything that needed to be fixed by an orthotic. So then recently I went to a new podiatrist, and in that process, the thing that I really liked about that process was that there was a lot of questions and answers back and forth, and it was a constructive process. Orthotics are not one size fit all. Now, while you can get some off the shelf, they're a lot more basic, and generally they're just like the main benefits of them is a little bit more cushioning, or the arch goes up a little bit higher just to help support through there. But for me, I had specific needs. I don't necessarily just need something that's going to prop up the arch a bunch, because if it only does that and I don't have anything on the other side, I tip over and I'm rolling my ankle out every single time that I try to take a hard stop, which is less than beneficial for my situation. I didn't want it to be too tall because a lot of the shoes that I wear for running are a little bit lower and it's hard to cinch them in. I just wasn't like staying in the shoe with a couple of the earlier versions that he showed me. And yeah, like those were the main two like really big things. But it came from trial and error that we found those things. Now, I have zero expertise about orthotics and how they specifically work to help my feet not hurt anymore, right? I don't actually understand the ins and outs. And if I wanted to, I could have asked more and more questions. I asked some questions, but I could ask more and more questions, and I could probably do my own research. But I don't think that was the important thing for me to know. The important things for me to know was my context and how the product would help with my context, or how the outcome of the service would help with my context. So in working with him, I wasn't questioning and I wasn't pushing different things that had specifically to do with the expertise. I didn't suggest that he brings up the arch 3 millimeters more in this spot because of this pain that I was getting. What I did suggest though is that, hey, my foot's not fitting. Are we able to bring it down a bit, or something to that effect? Is that something that we could do? Or I didn't suggest, but I mentioned the fact that I felt like I was rolling out. So what can we do about that? Because I don't want to be rolling out. And that's my job. My job when I'm receiving the service is to provide the context. Yeah. Now let's flip this over to a strength and conditioning perspective. So if you're working with a coach, you might not necessarily have all of the knowledge about the specific strength and conditioning. And if you do, you could talk to them and ask questions. And I love answering questions and having in-depth discussions about whether it's a specific rep range or whether it's a specific type of exercise or bit of technique that we do in an exercise or a range of motion, whatever it is, right? I love having those conversations. I love having those conversations with clients who are actually interested in it. But the thing that I need from the client is their specific context. I need to know before we even get into the program, I need to know what their goals are. I need to know what their timeline is. I need to know if they have anything specific that will affect my programming. So I need them to be an expert in them, which luckily everyone is. And then on the other side of things, once we have the program, I need them to be able to talk to me about what felt good, what didn't. And then once they give me the information about what felt good or what worked for them or what makes them feel good, then I can filter that through what I know so that I can make a better decision. So I know that some exercises probably are going to make someone very fatigued after the first time that they do it. But if they tell me that and it's like, oh man, I felt a bit garbage after this exercise, what's going on? Then it's a thing of the next time, hey, let's just monitor this. Can we stick with it for another 2 or 3 weeks? And then if it's feeling better by week 3, we're going to get big benefit out of it, so we're going to stick with it. And that's it. I need them to be an expert in them, and I need for me to be an expert in the field and the decisions that I'm making in regards to their program. That's how we work together.